I've been excited to talk to you
Yeah.
because I thought that this is the week where you might be like, I told you so. Uh,
Why is that?
because the thing that I wanted to talk to you about was I've seen a lot in the various press this week about AI and how this constant hype that we've seen of AI, people are maybe getting a bit over it. And people are realizing that the impact of AI is maybe not what people have been talking about for the last year or year and a half. And I know this is something that you have expressed yourself a bit of kind of hesitation of jumping right in. But now we see in outlets like Forbes, The Economist, and various others, this kind of discussion of, well, is this technology really having the impact that people have said it's going to have? And if it isn't having the impact, when is it actually going to get there? So I've been excited to bring that topic to you because I thought you'd have some interesting things to say about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the first thing I want to say is that I personally do not feel like the hype has died down. I think the hype is still at an all-time high. You know what I mean? The hype around what you can do with AI to me is still definitely up there. Now, that's unresearched. I didn't research anything to to give you that information. I'm
Yeah.
just, talking about the circles that I'm in, right? Now to their point, with things dying down, maybe it's more of a, people settling in to realizing that, what they were sold maybe wasn't exactly, what it is. It's I can see that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's technology. It's really good technology, but it's still technology at the end of the day. And it's moving rapidly. A lot of things are happening, but it's still technology. So in order for this technology to really like take off, people have to use it and find it so valuable that they're talking about it. And we can probably say you see a lot of fanboys talking about AI and hyping it up. There's a lot of hype from the fanboys, right? So
Mhm.
maybe that has died down. I don't know. I know I still see the hype, but what AI can do and how it is valued for the typical end user, that is that is not going away. That's still a thing. You know what I mean? I guess just not as to Forbes and the rest of them is maybe not what it was a few years
Mhm.
ago. Yeah, yeah, it wasn't a few years ago because I think what is this 2024? So 23
2023,
end of
so
2022.
it's like 18 months at this point. I mean, nearly 2 years
Right.
at this point since ChatGPT first kind of exploded and everyone got so excited about this.
Yeah, yeah. The
Um,
end of 2022 when
yeah,
I was at Podcast Movement. No, one of the podcast fests
yeah,
or Podfest. It was when I went to a session when a guy was like going through his slides and showing how easily you could write a book, how easy it answers questions that you need to know like something about, all kinds of things. That's the session that I sat in, got my
yeah.
mind blown, and then went and told my wife about it. I'm like, hey, ask me any question. And I'm like pulling it up on ChatGPT, and this is the way I'm showing how good it is. And
And
that
so
was
long
about
as it
in
wasn't how
2022.
many R's are there in the word strawberry, you were good.
No, 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 no.
Because AI still cannot do that, by the way.
Yeah, AI is
Yeah,
shaky with the math. We know that.
yeah.
But still, I personally do not think that the hype is dead. I
I
don't
don't think
feel
the
it.
hype. I mean, in the same way that the hype over cryptocurrency isn't dead, the hype over NFTs isn't dead. I mean, there are still those people out there that have committed themselves to this of the kind of more influencer end of the scale who will beat this stuff like a dead horse. You
Oh,
know.
wait,
Um,
wait. I actually think the hype over that is dead.
well,
You think the opposite.
I mean, it depends where you're looking. I mean, the general kind of hype everywhere of it's in the general news cycle, everyone's talking about it. Yeah, we're over that. But there are still people out there that are still flogging these ideas, is what I'm
Mm.
saying. And I think the same is true that there are a lot of people who have committed to the kind of AI or die kind of philosophy at this point and don't want to get off of that. But I do
Yeah.
think that there are there are real justifications for organizations to say, hey, we've been promised all of this, and this is what we've seen instead.
Yes.
I just put out a video about Copilot in OneDrive. Is a new place where Copilot has arrived. And one of the things that I've started to do with a lot of my content related to Copilot is to go back and take a look at what was it that was originally announced versus
Mm,
what has been delivered to this point. Because I really can't think of another good way to really deliver a judgment of whether what was hyped was what we actually end up with, and I'm really thinking about this. And anyone watching this, if they have an idea as to a better way to approach that, then I'd be really interested to learn about that and have that conversation. But right now, my mindset is, well, let's look at what gets announced and what gets shown off and the demos that get given, and then what is it that we actually get right now when someone says, hey, this is the product that we talked about and it's in your hands. And it is perfectly reasonable. I mean, as a statement of fact, I don't think anyone can disagree with this, that what was promised and what got delivered, again, there's a big divide between the two. And that's not to say that the product that gets delivered isn't useful. Like, I think the product that gets delivered is useful, but there's this
mhm.
gap between the promise and the delivery. And my view is that something can both be really, really useful and powerful and a great system to use. I mean, I use Copilot every single day, but it can also be disappointing. And I
Mhm.
find Copilot disappointing, not because objectively it's bad, but because versus what got promised, it just isn't there. And I think this is what people are feeling. It's not that objectively there's anything wrong with it. Now, the problem that I see with that is I am committed to this to a certain extent because this is my field of work.
Mhm.
It's my job to know about what Copilot can deliver and what it can't deliver, and to experiment with it. But I think there's a lot of people out there who are kind of on the fence with this kind of thing, that see promise A, promise B, promise C, buy the product, and it's not necessarily Copilot. It may be any of these products. Buy the product, download the product, try the product, find
Mhm.
it doesn't quite do what they thought it was going to do, and then become disillusioned. And I think that's the problem that we're seeing. It's that disillusionment from the people who are kind of on the fence, could go one way or could go the other way of ever using these technologies.
Yeah, I compare it to, like, remember the commercials about Siri?
Yeah,
Those commercials were done really well because it was like, hey, hold your phone, ask your phone something, and your phone will respond to you in a voice and give you whatever it is that you need. I
yeah,
don't remember the um Alexa commercials, but I know I have an Alexa and it sucks. But all I ask it is, what time is it? I tell it to set me a timer, and then uh I go I do the obviously I do the weather.
yeah.
I always ask the weather every now and then. But there's something that, oh, and then it gets a lot of things wrong. Like a lot. It just gets it wrong. It's just not good. And I'm like, without having to go back to compare what they promised with Alexa, I can say this thing is not that useful. I could throw it out tomorrow and I'll be fine. It doesn't add so much value to my life. And I think that's where people might be with Copilot right now. Something that's good should be so good that it comes into your life, shows its value, and then you're like questioning whether or not you should get rid of this thing. If anybody bought into their version of AI right now, which to me it's pretty good. If you're at a point where you are like, you could remove this out of my life and I'm good, then it obviously did not show you its value. But the hype can cause that gap, to your point. So
Mm,
the
mm.
way I was hyped, it didn't work on me the way it works on, like normal, right? Because all I kept hearing, ChatGPT, ChatGPT, ChatGPT. And I'm like, all right, yeah, cool, fine, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It sounds good. Then it's like YouTube videos popping up. Make $10,000 with ChatGPT in the next
Oh,
two
I
weeks
hate
or
that
whatever.
stuff. I hate that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
Very
all it's all
annoying.
rubbish.
Yes, I will go down the lane and say it's rubbish.
Like, it's just I mean, the number of people, and it's like all of these things. I mean, if you go back to the example of crypto, of NFTs, and so
Mhm.
on and so forth, interesting technology, but what people remember, I think, is the scammy way that it got
Yes.
delivered. Now, I think that the difference here is that companies like Microsoft or Apple never went down the road of saying, "Hey, we're all in on cryptocurrency."
Mhm.
They never went down the road of saying they're all in on NFTs. So I think we do have to look at that and say, well, there's been these technology hypes that have come and gone before, that these big tech businesses that we're interacting with every day haven't pushed everything in there. And right now they are pushing everything down the AI road. So I think
What
we should.
sorry, are you an iPhone user?
Am I an iPhone user? Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, so back to the Siri example.
Yeah.
Siri, they went all in on Siri, and Siri is just AI, right? So
Well, it's a different AI to ChatGPT. I mean, the basic technology there is not the same type of technology.
correct,
And
but it
now, I mean, I got an email from Google the other day telling me how they're going to start integrating generative AI. They're going to start integrating Gemini into the Google Assistant to make it better. So right now, those tools, whether we're talking about Amazon's or the Siri or Google Assistant
mhm, mhm.
or the defunct Cortana as it was before. Those were not the same AI technology that we're seeing in ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini right now.
Yes, correct. But Apple at one point went all in on that, and there was a hype around it, and they put out the excellent commercials. Those are really good commercials to sell that technology. Now, you as a user of an iPhone, of Siri, before we got commoditized AI,
Hmm.
do you think that Siri lived up to the hype? Are you an avid Siri user?
No, I am not an avid Siri user.
I think this is the thing. This is the thing that I'm talking about. Or even that you're talking about with the gap. When you sell it a certain way, you got to be good at selling. That's what's going to get the cash registers ringing. So you sell it a certain way, you get it in the hands of people, then they use it, and it turns out to be meh. It's not that big of a deal. I've never heard anybody sing the praises of Siri like, yo, listen, they cannot take Siri away from me. I love this thing.
I've seen a lot of people who shout at their phone to write a text message, and that always strikes me as a little bit weird.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that the other difference, Thurman, is that when we talk about something like Copilot, or to a greater extent when we're thinking about things like ChatGPT,
Mhm.
we're thinking about tools that can very easily be turned from a consumer focus to a business focus.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and I think tools like Siri, as they stood in years gone by when they were created, or Google Assistant or whatever it was, were very much a consumer centered play for these companies. And I do think that there's a difference in the value proposition that you have to be able to deliver.
You're right.
I mean, you think like one of those like little Google mini puck things, or the one that comes from Amazon, the Echo Mini. What
Yeah,
were
yeah,
they
yeah.
like
Mhm.
$20, $30 or so? It's almost like a throwaway piece of technology, right? That
Mhm.
you can put into your home and not worry too much about. I mean, one of those screens from Google was like $100. With something like Copilot, we're talking about $360 per year per user, right? So that just the monetary value that you're trying to get back from that investment is on a completely different scale to what you think you might have invested in Google Assistant or Siri or whatever it may be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good point. Yeah, it definitely is a different proposition. So I'm with you on that. I was going with back to the same companies, these big tech guys, Apple, promoting something, and then whether or not it lives up to the hype. But that is definitely a big a big difference if you're selling something at scale for businesses. And in this case, Microsoft, I I, I don't. All right, so I'm not going to pick on Microsoft because Microsoft they're one of the folks. They're pretty big, but they're not one of the companies who.
Mhm.
I mean, they're not the only company who hyped up AI.
Oh,
The,
no.
the AI hype is all over the place, and again, I don't believe it's dead. It's still in the news cycles. New things are still popping up. People are still, being a bit scammy with it. Like it's still there. It's just what I went to. I remember a few episodes ago. It was a while ago when you first asked me if I was going to get a Copilot. I said yes, but I still don't have one, right? And I'm still doing the thing that I do, which is I wait until the dust settles. And as far as I'm concerned, the dust is not settled yet. It's still a lot going on to the point where big important things are still happening. Like that whole what is it? The one that Elon Musk's photo generator or whatever. His
Flux and
Flux
Grok, yeah.
has images which we knew were coming, images that look real. Like there was a when we were able to start using image generators, you could still look at it and be like, well, this is not the best image. You could tell it's kind of AI-ish. It got
Mhm,
that
mhm.
AI vibe to where you also saw like a couple fake videos out there that had that AI vibe to it. This thing does not have that. Let me not say that. It's very little. Like they were saying, like there was a woman in a video speaking, and I think she had a lanyard around her neck, and the text
Mm.
on the lanyard was a little blurry. That's just today, 2024. I'm pretty sure that will be fixed really soon, and then we're gonna be talking about what I was talking about, which is kids learning remote with a hologram in front of them that's their teacher that they created in their own image, and they're sitting in their room learning. Like this technology, I don't think the hype is going to die down for a while, but the technology itself just becoming having settled and people really pulling value out of it. It'll get here. There's a lot of people pulling value out of it, but not to the point where people are like, don't take my Copilot away. Maybe not ChatGPT. People are probably like, "Don't take my ChatGPT away." Even I'm
Well,
like that.
I think people don't want their Copilot to. I mean, that's one of the things that we see from the Microsoft Work Trend Index. The research that they do is that a lot of people, once they've received a Copilot for Microsoft 365 license, they really don't want to work without Copilot for Microsoft 365
Okay,
anymore.
all right, that's good to
Now,
hear.
now that doesn't. I think the number was like 70% of people or something like that. So certainly more than half of the people who start using it after using it for a certain amount of time don't want it taken away. That doesn't mean that it does everything that Microsoft promised. And
Good point.
I think that the point of sitting back and waiting and seeing like where is this going, I think that's fine from the point of view of I'm a consumer of this technology and I may be interested in using it in the future. But I think the solution for businesses or the direction for businesses needs to be a little bit different. If you're highly invested in Microsoft 365, then the AI solution that is going to fit you best is going to be Copilot for Microsoft 365. It's as
Mhm.
simple as that. Like whatever Grok can do, it doesn't matter unless you're going to go to monumental lengths to integrate this third party AI into what you're doing every day. It's going to be an uphill struggle versus just turning on the technology that Microsoft delivers to you. In the same way that if you're a Google Workspace house, you're probably not going to be interested in Copilot. You're going to be using Gemini.
Right.
You might find it easier to turn on something else, but you're probably going to be using Gemini. So I think that the picture for businesses is a little bit different. That you can look at this and say, well, with what it delivers today, with the features that I'm going to get if I go out and buy this right now, am I going to get enough back from it that I see value in my investment?
Mhm.
And is that value going to grow over time as this product grows over time? And it doesn't really matter as to whether this is the best AI. We know it's not going to be the worst AI. We know it's not going to be the worst product out there. It may not be the best product out there, but with all the other investments that we've got in having Microsoft 365, in having our data, in having the adoption of Teams and Office and so on and so forth, we're not going to go in a different direction. So just go out and buy it. And I think that's kind of the path that I see for businesses. Whereas as an individual who's interested in AI, you might have a subscription to 5 different things that you're trying out all the time and trying to
Mhm.
work out which of them is going to be best for you. But
Yep.
it's a completely different thing. You don't have the same concerns about data compliance. You don't have the same concerns about privacy necessarily. You don't have the same concerns about integration. You don't have the adoption piece across your organization. It comes down to how interested are you as an individual, not how interested is Jan, who sits in the corner of your accounts receivable office. That's the question when you're running a business. So I think there are two different things going on here. And maybe Copilot doesn't need to be hyped. It's just the question of, well, I use Microsoft 365. I'd like some AI. And so the right answer is to turn that on as your first step into that road.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you on. If you are a Microsoft 365 user, your business AI of choice is going to be Copilot.
Hmm.
And I also understand that we had this discussion of talking about Microsoft's hype.
Yeah.
It's it's unnecessary in Microsoft's arena. They are not the flashy company like you've mentioned in the past. They are in it for the long haul, and that's where we are. That's where you're going to be with Microsoft Copilot. It's it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere, and you have to imagine that, of course, it's going to get better over time. Absolutely. That to me, when it becomes like it's okay, a few years ago, not a few years ago, probably 2004. I remember when I was in I did the army for 4 years, then I joined the guard for a year. When I was
Hmm.
in the guard, there was a sergeant that I had, and she was not, into technology, but there was another sergeant that I had who was way into technology. And I remember him saying to her, do you know what Bluetooth is? Bluetooth will let you do, and she cut him off and was like, don't bring none of that technology stuff to me. I don't know what you're talking about with this Bluetooth. Leave me alone. That is Bluetooth, which now today, that same sergeant who I just ran into in the supermarket the other day, by the way, if I said Bluetooth to her, she would know exactly what I'm talking about. She doesn't have to know, how the technology works, but she knows, oh, Bluetooth, I have my Bluetooth headphones, or I
Hmm.
have my Bluetooth device. I just know that Bluetooth works where I could connect two physical devices through the air, basically, is how she would look at Bluetooth. I like when things get to that point. You know what I mean? Like that is way further along, but I have to do a lot of explaining with SharePoint, right? Like I have to do a lot of making them aware. Copilot would be another thing where I'd have to make them aware. You know what I'm saying? I would like it where once the dust settles, I say Copilot, you know what I'm talking about. Because even right now, the average user, I'm willing to bet, I put a little bit of money on it, that if I said to them Microsoft Copilot, they might not know what I'm talking about. And these will probably be people who work in 365 on a regular basis, see the thing that says Copilot, and probably I could say to them, do you know what Copilot is? And they'll be like, I don't know. I see it on my computer all the time, but I don't know what it does. That's I'd like to get over that hump. And that to
Yeah.
me is where the dust settles, where it's like, now I could talk to you about something that makes sense, like Bluetooth. You know what I mean? Like
So you want
get it.
ubiquity, is what you're saying. Essentially you want a technology to be so ubiquitous
I
that
do.
everyone understands what it is. However,
Or
let me
has an
ask you.
idea. Has an idea, like the
Yeah,
Bluetooth example. If I said
yeah,
Bluetooth to that sergeant right now, she would know what I'm talking about.
yeah. So let me ask you one final question then.
What's
So
going on?
for those businesses that are waiting for that ubiquity, that are waiting for the dust to settle,
Mhm.
should there be the concern of this is such a transformational technology, even if it doesn't do everything that it's been hyped to do, but just insofar as, we all have 24 hours in a day. And so if there's a technology that's letting some people save 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes every day that other people aren't using, is there a risk that while you're waiting for that ubiquity or you're waiting for the dust to settle, that those organizations and those people who have embraced this technology manage to get so far ahead during that period of time that by the time you've got that dust settling and you're like, everyone's ready to jump on this, the people who haven't at that point are so far behind that they can never catch up with the progress that's been made in those other organizations?
Yes, the risk is absolutely there, and it's large for, let's say, a company, not even a company, I was about to say a company like Disney, but
Mm,
that's like way over the top. We don't even have to go that far. If you're an organization, if you're a business and you have multiple employees and you're obviously competitive in the marketplace and you've been growing, you need to know about it. I will say that I've been saying it since I've seen it to businesses. You need to get your AI strategy together. No doubt about it. I'm just in a different boat. But I'll tell you, businesses, yes, you 100%. The risk is there that if another company is, even if they're slogging along with it, they're still getting used to it and understanding little nuances. They see the updates coming in, so they could talk
mm,
about
mm.
when, oh, it didn't used to do this, but now it does this. This is great. It's getting better. Yes, those businesses will leave you behind. So without question, get hip. You know what I'm saying? If it's me and a company's talking to me, as soon as I say, hey, listen, y'all really need to get on this AI boat, it's gonna pass you by, da da da. They're gonna say, Thurman, can you help me with that? And I'll say, yeah. And then I'll go find someone like, Nick DeCourcy, who could come in and talk to them about it, because I would sit there and learn too. I just keep a very extremely narrow focus on the thing that I
Mm,
need to
mm, mm.
understand to help my clients, and then just uh I have Nicks of the world who could go do that for me.
Yeah, and I mean that's the great thing about there being so much out there in the IT space. Of it's not just pursue one opportunity. To
Hmm.
be successful, you have to pursue 10 opportunities at the same time.
Yeah, you
And
need
find
that type
some
of
things
team.
that work for you. Yeah, I mean I think that's the learning point that you can come to from this. Of should anyone put all of their eggs in the AI basket? I don't think so.
No, no,
But
no.
I think for every business you should at least be playing with this a little bit to understand it. Like there should be a little bit of understanding of maybe this isn't for us right now, but we need to keep on top of this opportunity. And that should be the same for understanding new stuff that's coming into Microsoft 365. It should be the same with understanding new web technologies. It should be understanding what's the latest trends on social media. Like all of these things are important to every business now.
Yeah, Nick, I'll tell you what. Let me tell you what I would do. If I was like the CIO somewhere at some organization, back in late 2022, uh when I went to that session and saw that guy briefing all these things that ChatGPT could do, and he's telling me this is AI and it's now in the power, it's in the hands of like all of us. The first thing I'm doing is trying to hire. I am going to hire someone in my department I'm going to create a position that's like, AI lead or whatever it is, head of artificial intelligence. I don't know. And this person, their sole focus is AI, because to your point, there's a lot going on. There's so many consultants, there's a lot on social media, there's a bunch of email lists you can subscribe to, there's YouTube shows, there's all
Mhm.
kinds of things that the business can't necessarily stay up on, in the sense that, in the way that we are now. So you spend the money, get this person on salary, and write that description and have them do that thing on behalf of your business.
Mm,
That to me is money well spent. Because if I'd have did that back in 2022 with my organization, with I'm the CIO of this organization. Imagine now someone who's been focused on this thing for 2 years, and on top of that, we have Copilot. We're a Microsoft organization. We pay for 365. Imagine this person who's been knee deep in it, maybe hired a couple other people because it's getting out of control, and where we would be as an organization. So
Oh
that is
yeah,
my
huge amount of
recommendation.
value. Or an outsider third party, a consultant, whatever you need to do,
Or
whatever
get a
works for your
consultant.
whatever works for your scale of organization, and different things will work for different scales of organization. But you cannot neglect the need to enhance your knowledge. As soon
Absolutely.
as you neglect the need to enhance your knowledge across all the different areas that you work in, then you're going to get left behind in something, and you're going to miss an opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Nick, I tell you what, I do want to talk to you. Maybe we could do it on the next episode about a specific um, solution that Copilot might be able to provide at an organization paying for 365. But
Okay. Okay, and
We'll
I
probably
think
say
that'd be
that for
good to
next
keep
week.
this conversation going. So until then, Thurman, it's been a great chat. But where can people find out more about you or what you've got going on over the next couple of weeks?
LinkedIn. That is your best spot to find me. Get on LinkedIn. The link will be in the description. Thurman Trotman, Thurman with an E. Just find me there and shoot me a message and I'll get you taken care of. I'm I don't want to say I'm working on something, but I already at this point I am. I'm saying it. So yeah, just reach out on LinkedIn. I'm there almost
Yep.
every day now. So Nick, what about you? What you got going on?
Well, I've got an exciting period coming up because I'm just coming up on the second anniversary of having my YouTube channel, and
Nice.
I'm planning to do some stuff around that. I'm toying with the idea right now as to whether I'm going to do something live or recorded. But one of the things that I want to do is a Q&A for people who watch the videos. So I'm going to be putting out that opportunity soon. It might be a link down below on this video or one of my upcoming ones. And there's a few other things that I've got. Pies I've got in the oven as well. Is that the right way of putting it? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, things that will be coming.
Now, when you
So
say Q&A, you mean like an AMA, like a Ask Me Anything?
yeah, exactly, exactly. So
You doing personal questions, or you doing professional? Or you doing both? What you doing?
well, I guess I'll see what people send and then decide what I'm going to answer. I guess.
Okay.
I'll probably just get I'll get like three questions probably, but we'll see what happens. So that's something different that I've not done before. So I'm just going to try doing that. But yeah,
I
it's an
like it.
exciting time. 2 years, and this has become a very big part of what I do over the last 2 years. So I thought it'd
Good
be nice
stuff.
to celebrate that.
Yeah, well, congratulations, man. That's what's up. I like that.
Thanks.
Good
Thanks.
deal.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to chatting again in a couple of weeks' time. You have a good couple of weeks, and we will see everyone back here for another business boost in 2 weeks' time.
Absolutely. All right. See you, Nick.
All right. Take care. Bye.